The Fan, Upstate.
Cole, it's NFL Superlative Day. Everybody getting their ribbons and their certificates. Everybody's feeling good about themselves. Welcome into Wire to Wire. He's Cole Bryson on location. Burns Boys basketball coming up tonight at 7 o'clock. Cole, the Road Warrior, is on location. Cole, do you recall, and it hasn't been quite as long for you as it has been for me, do you recall getting any senior superlatives before you graduated high school?
You know what? That is a great question. I don't recall. I don't think I was in that clique. You know what I mean? I think you had to be in a certain clique. Tell me if I'm wrong here. To get senior superlatives, I don't remember ever being nominated. I think I was in a different clique than the senior superlative clique.
That's true. I mean, if you wanted best hair or best smile or most likely to be successful, you had to be one of the popular kids.
Did.
I got most likely to start World War III.
Oh my
so
God.
I don't know if that's a
no. That's not.
Yeah,
good.
I don't think that's not a good thing. I promise. I mean, I walked around my high school halls rocking Metallica T-shirts and Rammstein long sleeves and stuff like that. But I wasn't Mr. Anarchy. I never quite understood why. I got that superlative
school every day. I mean,
hey, sometimes you just meet them, right? Don't ask questions you don't want
so
to know the
bad,
answers
That's
to.
funny. I'm never going to let you live that down now. It's funny, Diesel. In high school, number one, teachers told you and I, hey, you always run your mouth. You're never going to make a living running your mouth, And look at them now, right? They're fat, retired. Look at us, right? So they were proven wrong there.
I want to know how many radio hosts ever, and this is not a question we could ever know the answer to, how many got that talks too much in class award? How many of them had that written on their report cards by their teachers? Your kid talks too much, can't focus, can't pay attention, always has his thoughts somewhere else. Those are the people like you and me that do jobs like this.
Yep.
Dewey says 100%. No one liked you.
100%.
Cole wasn't popular.
How do you know, Dewey?
No one. That's mean.
How do you know, Dewey?
That's mean. I think Cole, since we've already opened up this can of worms, in the stream, Tolos, why don't you nominate another Tolo for a senior superlative? Whatever it is you want it to be, drop it in there. I'm sure a lot of people are going to give Dewey a lot of senior superlatives, and he's probably going to get the most. But is he going to get the best?
And
it's entirely up to you.
I also think Diesel, like those things, and tell me if I'm wrong here, I promise we'll get back to football, but you've got me down the rabbit trail. Look what you did. Your fault, right? I also think those things got to be, approved, by the staff and the teachers and, some of the things we would have been nominated for in my group that I hung out with, probably would have got approved, I mean,
most likely to get a 12-pointer, that's Cole Bryson right there.
So I remember getting in trouble right before I graduated, and they tried to be super hardcore about it. And I hope somebody might be listening. It's okay. That was there when I was there. But the reality, Diesel, right before, we graduated, everybody else is getting superlatives and all best dressed. And, your cap and gown's got all these nice little tassels coming off of them. We got in trouble for skipping senior, what do you call it?
Senior day? Senior week?
Senior day. Like when you go out, you sign your, we got in trouble
senior
for
skip day.
Right. No, it's not skip day. Just the senior day. We got in trouble because we showed up, got a pass, took our boat to school with us in the parking lot, then left and went fishing. And then it was the week before graduation. Hey, we're going to try to threaten you. You can't walk, you can't graduate. So that's why probably I wasn't in the superlatives conversation.
You should have had pictures. Did you catch anything that day? If you could have said, look at this hog that I just caught, this 4.5 pounder, that's my future.
That's right.
No one reading, writing, and arithmetic is not
in
my
future. Thank you very much.
Especially nowadays, right? You can make a living doing just about anything if you're passionate about it and you're good about it. Again, welcome into Wire to Wire. He's Cole Bryson. I'm Diesel. Cole, the awards for everything in the NFL, all of them were officially released today. Some of them not really surprising at all. Some of them, a little interesting. Want to go through some of these and we can kind of comment one by one. But again, Tolos, if you want to nominate another Tolo for a senior superlative, throw it in the stream on Facebook, Twitter, and on YouTube. Just search for the Fan Upstate.
Hey, by the way,
platform you like.
Shout out to Shane Barrett, who says toe-lowing from traffic in Atlanta.
Hey,
Ooh.
what's up, Shane?
That's rough. Also, shout out to Steven, says, I'm ready for some Rebel basketball tonight, taking my oldest son to his first game. Steven, appreciate you watching the show. I'll be here up top. I'm here now at Norman High School, and we'll have the call for you tonight if you can't make the game. Probably the biggest game in the state of South Carolina tonight here in Roebuck. So it's going to be a lot of fun.
So, Cole, if we were looking at this the way that we look at the college award, the analogous college award, which would be the Heisman, we may be looking at a different winner of this particular award, because how deep you go into the playoffs, I think, matters a lot to people in college.
Sure.
But the NFL MVP has been announced as Matthew Stafford, quarterback of the LA Rams. I mean, he had an amazing season, right? He had the MVP season, 4,700 yards, which led the NFL, 46 touchdowns, 8 interceptions, 65% completion, and only 23 sacks taken. Congratulations to Matthew Stafford. How old is he? Like 60? I think he's older than Rick and Greer, and he's winning NFL MVP.
He's 37, so he's close. But look, he had an amazing season. Now, here's one thing that I do want to know on this quarterback conversation for the MVP, because most of the time it is a quarterback, right? I would like to know from the voters. You just brought it up, his age. He's 37 years old, which is old in quarterback years, right, Diesel? How much of that went into him winning the award? Now, I knew he threw for 4,700 yards, 65% completion rate, 46 touchdowns to only 8 interceptions, which is incredible. He was like top 6, top 7 of QBR, by the way, below Bryce Young. But all I'm saying is, Diesel, I just wonder, when the voters voted for Stafford as league MVP, I wonder how much of it was because of like this. Oh,
so
wow.
You're calling shenanigans out of the gate.
Well, I'm just saying, I wonder how much of it was like, oh, wow, look what he's doing at this age. Like, what he did was impressive. He had more passing yards than anybody else. But I'm just asking the question, how much did his age factor into the voting? You know what I mean?
So basically, you're bringing it back to the question that we had with the Hall of Fame, with Bill Belichick not getting in because certain voters said that certain old-ass players that nobody's even heard of, they should get the votes because this might be their last chance to get in? Or are you just saying, like, it's impressive because it's qualified that he's old?
Well, I think both. I think look, let me say this, to be clear, okay? He should have won league MVP, regardless of how old he is. That's my opinion.
Yeah, I think it's a legitimate MVP.
I do too. And I'm just saying, like, here's the reason I bring this up, Diesel, is because if it was my vote for Stafford, my reasoning behind it is this. Oh, it was really impressive. Oh, he had 4,700 yards. Oh, he was the best quarterback. Oh, and the cherry on top is he's 37 years old. So I think that's just kind of the cherry on top of it.
Matthew received 24 out of the 50 first place votes.
Wow.
Second place was Drake May, who received 23 out of the 50 first place votes. So those two combined for 47. I haven't seen who got the other 3, by the way.
Sure.
But I mean, hey, 24 versus 23. I mean, that just shows that the NFL voters, they were neck and neck. But what's interesting is Stafford had more yards, more touchdowns, the same number of interceptions.
Yeah.
So he just flat out had a better season than Drake May had. And that takes nothing away from Drake May, because Drake May's playing in the Super Bowl. He could get the ring. What would you rather be?
No.
An NFL MVP, or would you rather be a Super Bowl champion or Super Bowl participant?
100%. But let me throw one wild stat at you, and I want to know if this surprised you, and the Tolos as well. When you look down at Drake May and Matthew Stafford like you're talking about, you're right. Stafford was better. Would it surprise you, though, Diesel, that a 37-year-old Matthew Stafford, who's not as agile, whose mobility in the pocket's limited, Diesel, he was only sacked 23 times this year. You know how many times Drake May was sacked? 47 times. So think about that. An athletic young quarterback was sacked almost double 47 times, and Stafford was only sacked 23. I know that like that's not a quarterback stat, but like my goodness, that dude's offensive line deserves a tremendous amount of credit for this award, right?
Yeah, and everybody on that Patriots offensive line ought to be fired.
No
I mean,
doubt.
come on. They're gonna have to do some major improvements on the offensive line going into next season, Cole. Because imagine Drake May playing behind an offensive line that could protect him the way that the Rams offensive line protected Matt Stafford.
Yeah, it was a good offensive line. And it also goes to show, one quick side note, it also goes to show that, like, best offensive line unit doesn't always make the Super Bowl. I mean, I remember very vividly a couple of years ago when Joe Burrow drugged the Bengals to the Super Bowl. They had the worst offensive line in football, like the worst. So it's interesting to see how, like, these individual metrics are measured.
Congratulations to our Tetaroa McMillan Offensive Rookie of the Year, wide receiver out of the Carolina Panthers. 70 receptions, had a 1,000-yard season, 7 touchdowns, 14.5 yards per catch, and he did it, Cole, with what Rick calls the midget playing quarterback.
I think it's impressive, and I think it's well-deserved. I mean, like, you look back at this year, like, when the year started, the season started, we were impressed with McMillan, but I think what impressed me most this year with him as a rookie was not, like, his potential, not his big plays, but his consistency. He was just consistent all season. For you to draft a guy, 1,000-yard plus receiver in his first year, you'll take that. He may not be the best receiver ever, but you'll take that 9 times out of 10 if you're an NFL GM.
Absolutely. Second place in that one, by the way, went to Tyler Shuck, quarterback of the Saints. I think he's going to have a really strong career ahead of him. Congratulations to Tyler for coming in second there. Defensive Rookie of the Year, Carson Swessinger, linebacker from the Cleveland Browns. Second place. Should have been the winner, man. I'd have to really dig into the stats. Nick Emanwari, who's playing in the Super Bowl, by the way, second place in Defensive Rookie of the Year. Still amazing, but congratulations to Nick. He should have been first.
Yeah, I wish it was Nick. We talked about Nick yesterday and that injury, the ankle injury. Hope he's doing better. But my gosh, what a season that guy's had. Just a spectacular rookie season for Nick Emanwari.
Tolo Phil says, I nominate Dewey as the most likely to generate the most interaction.
Yes.
Dewey hate will not be tolerated, says
That's
Tolo
right.
Phil.
That's what I'm talking about right now. You know what? That's 2 texts. Remember the caller yesterday? I forgot who it was. No, we're not going to take this Dewey hate. Dewey might be, Dewey might get on your nerves, but there's no Dewey hate going to happen on this show.
That's right.
Unless it's by us.
Defensive Player of the Year, unanimous voting. Cole's second career Defensive Player of the Year trophy for Myles Garrett from the Cincinnati Browns. Look at that. You have an elite defense, two elite players on this Browns defense. Where are they in the standings?
Did they move to Cincinnati?
All the way at the bottom. Did I say Cincinnati? Cleveland.
I
didn't realize that said team. Yeah. Sorry about that. Maybe the state of Ohio only needs one team,
That's
right?
Let's combine them.
Let's go from Cleveland in the Northeast and Cincinnati in the Southwest, and just put them in Columbus.
Combine the two. He's incredible, man. Like, it's just, what you said that, and I heard that last night. You know what I wish? Wish he was on my team. Wish he wasn't stuck in Cleveland, Like, you're talking about 2 years in a row, 3 years in a row, these were the best defensive player in football stuck in Cleveland. We got to get this guy out of there, don't we?
Yeah, he would be. I mean, he is essentially wasting his career in a really, really bad team. It's not fair to him. 60 combined tackles, 23 sacks, an NFL single-season sack record, forced 3 fumbles. The dude is just amazing. The Hall of Fame inductees list, Cole, is out. 5 players are entering: Drew Brees, Larry Fitzgerald, Adam Vinatieri, Luke Kuechly, and Roger Craig.
How about Luke? How about Luke, baby? How about Carolina Panthers? Oh, did you say Bill Belichick?
No. Bill Belichick left out. Robert Kraft left out. Eli Manning left out of the Hall of Fame.
I love it for Luke Kuechly, man. Like, it kind of stinks to think about because there were so many good players during that era of Carolina Panther football that I think we all took for granted, Diesel, and Luke Kuechly was one of them. Greg Olsen was one of them. So many different guys. We knew how good Cam was. We knew how good other players were, but my gosh, like you go back and find me a Luke Kuechly since he left the NFL. Go find me one. You know what I mean?
True.
They don't grow on trees, and that guy was as good as it gets.
next year for the Hall of Fame, the Pro Football Hall of Fame. First-time eligibility, Adrian Peterson, Ben Roethlisberger, and Gronk. All three of those guys. This is one of the things that just blows my mind. They played their last season in 2021. It feels like a long time ago, but it doesn't feel like a long time ago. But my brain can't process that they finished playing the game 5 years ago.
Yeah, it doesn't. We have to still deal with Gronk every Sunday on TV, right?
Talking about football. Football. Guys, we're going to talk about some football. I'm Gronk.
I don't know what's worse, him or Terry Bradshaw. Like, Terry's like dying on national television, and Rob's like just, CTE clueless almost.
Shows like that are only supposed to have one of those clowns. For us, it's Dewey. And, they've got multiple clowns on that show.
That's right. No doubt. By the way, real quick, JB sent in his Super Bowl prediction on the screen. If you have one, we do want to hear it, but we want to hear it at 4 o'clock. So save it for 4. Super Bowl predictions at 4 o'clock. We're going to flood the stream, flood the text line at 4 o'clock.
And finally here, Cole, because they didn't get in this year, these players will automatically be finalists in 2027. That's the bylaws. Terrell Suggs, Willie Anderson, and Marshall Yanda. All three of those guys are going to be finalists for next year.
That's
awesome. It's crazy, Cole. None of the guys that were listed by the voters who said they chose them instead of Bill Belichick, none of those guys got in this year.
Yeah,
isn't that fascinating?
It is weird on timing. We talked about Bill Belichick and Robert Kraft, and of course Bill should be in. But when you look at the timing of all of the Hall of Fame voters, or how they vote these guys in based on when they retire and when their success was, it is fascinating. If Bill Belichick wasn't as accomplished as he was, nobody would really be making that big of a deal of it. But it is fascinating to your point.
Well, and I was watching First Take earlier today. They were talking to a handful of ex-players, and they all said, look, it's great to be in the Hall of Fame. That is phenomenal. But there is a difference. There is an extra level of class to you if you are a first ballot Hall of Famer. And they've taken that away from Bill Belichick. Your guy, Emmitt Smith, was on that broadcast. They were talking about Tom Brady, for example. They were talking about why Bill Belichick didn't get in him his first try, and Emmitt Smith was conflating that with Tom Brady, who's eligible in 2028, saying if Tom Brady doesn't get in him his first try, I don't know why I'm even in the Hall of Fame.
Well, you're right. He's right. Not only does it hurt Bill, it also hurts everybody else. You know what I mean? Because that prestige, you're exactly right. Being a first ballot, like being in the Hall of Fame is being in the Hall of Fame, but there's a difference than being a first ballot Hall of Famer. They're almost in a class of their own. So it definitely is disappointing. I don't know if we'll ever see a reaction like we saw, a couple of weeks ago when Bill was laughed out, or last week rather, but it is very, very disappointing. Diesel, when we come back, let's bring it local. Sitting to my left, the athletic director at Dorman High School. We have a big game tonight between Dorman and Burns, but man, there are so many other athletic events going on, so much to talk about locally, reclassifications, new region, you name it. And John Stayer, the athletic director at Dorman High School, will join us to bring it local in the very next segment right here on the Fan Upstate.
844-326-3663. That's 844-FAN-PHONE. This is Wired to Wire with Cole Bryson and Diesel from the Fan Upstate.
Well, Diesel, we are the flagship station for Burns football and basketball, but we also cover all of the other upstate teams. And with me being in Dorman today, I said, man, what an opportunity we have to talk Dorman High School athletics with John Stair, the athletic director at Dorman High School, one of the absolute best in the state. And he did not pay me to say that, I promise. We were talking about during the break, we'll get to a few other things we were talking about too as well, John, me and you and Diesel, but we're sitting here in Dorman Arena. It still feels new. I know it's been here for many, many years now, but the most people I ever saw at Dorman Arena was the Zion game during the regular season. And I don't know if you guys can do like colleges do and keep an actual count of how many fans are at games, but talk about what this arena holds, and if you've ever seen another contest kind of rival that Zion game that night.
So we say about 3,000 for this arena when you get it packed full. The one unique thing that we did that night was on the track up top, we put chairs all along the top row or all along the track to add a whole nother row of seating.
Yeah.
And that was the hardest ticket to get. We only pre-sold tickets, and that was pre-COVID. So when pre-selling tickets was not a huge thing. So we only pre-sold tickets. And man, it was Zion started the game with a monster dunk,
Yep.
and it was a hyped up game that lived up to it in every sense of the word. I was on the basketball staff, so before I was athletic director, I was on the basketball staff. That was my first year here at Norman, and man, it was a treat with Miles Tate and Zion just going back and forth. It was awesome, special night.
John, before we came on the air, we were talking about another Dorman great, Miles Tate, who had a phenomenal career playing his college basketball up at App State. Guys like Miles and some of the other great players that have come in and out of that athletic department as a whole, what kind of connection do you guys try to maintain with them? Because I'm sure they look back on their days at Dorman very fondly.
Yeah, so especially, and I've got a little bit more of a connection to those basketball guys because I know them personally. But as soon as their season ends, they're in here all the time. So Miles is in here a ton. Talon Cooper that finished at South Carolina, he's here all the time. Matter of fact, Talon and Miles are both playing in the same professional league over in Greece.
Okay.
So that's pretty cool. You get to find an obscure stream and watch them play against each other from time to time. PJ and Noah Clowney stop by all the time. And then all the other, we've got a plethora of guys playing Division II basketball right now that were on that 2023 state championship team. And they were, all of those guys were here during Christmas break. Jordan Miller, Marcus Wilkins, Sean Lindsay, Terry Leonard. So it's really cool, and it's a great opportunity for our guys the current players, to get to see, what the future can hold for them. Jordan Surratt is playing with Coltrane, the brother, over at Conference. So, the list goes on. And hey, I'm a big Chicago Bears fan, and get to see one of my former players, Jordan McFadden, play in the playoffs, start in the playoffs. That was a very special treat to get to see that.
He started that game.
He did. Right? He started. NBC put together a little highlight package of him in the third quarter there. So that was pretty cool. But whether it's Thayer Hall or Sherrod Peak here coaching, it's cool to have those guys come around and still feel a connection to their time here.
Almost feels like you beat a wall in the gym. I'm sure you have a wall somewhere with their pictures and accolades because there's so many of them. You mentioned BJ and Noah both in the NBA. If I'm forgetting somebody, let me know. But Noah's still with Brooklyn,
yes.
BJ in Charlotte now. And, I watched a few of those games a couple of weeks ago, and BJ was in the starting lineup once or twice. And I think there's just, being in the NBA's a dream come true. But when you start a game in the NBA, man, I think that kind of takes we were talking about the Hall of Fame being a Hall of Famer versus the first ballot. I got to feel like there's a difference than starting an NBA game because there's only a few people that can do so,
And hey, look, to me, there is no coincidence that the Charlotte Hornets started winning games once PJ Hall got involved with that roster. He is such a plus person, not just as a basketball player, but what he brings on and off the court, his fun-loving personality. I mean, his senior year, that team was phenomenal, but there was a lot of pressure on that team to perform every single night. And he and Jack Renwick, who went on to play Division I baseball at Walford, had a phenomenal career at Walford. Those guys never allowed us to have a tight moment at all. They were cut up, were fun, made sure the chemistry was always great with that team, and made that season super fun.
John, I know that there are a lot of great fan bases in the upstate, especially there in 5A and in Spartanburg County. I mean, I've had friends who are Dorman alums tell me that they plan to will their football parking spaces to their kids. But can you tell me, because I'm sure you feel these things too, what was the last kind of standout crazy Dorman fan that's been in your email inbox who's asking for something wild, who's upset about something wild? Because I know it happens.
We get some like public address announcers at football and stuff like that. Like they all have an opinion on that. We were so blessed to have Joe Sessoms for over 50 years, and so I knew when I made that change, there would be plenty of opinions on both sides. So like that was one. The parking every Friday night at a football game, man. That is it got to the point where I was just, as soon as one person takes the wrong parking spot, it is a domino effect.
Yeah.
And I was like, what if we just call this a reserve block and they can park wherever they want? And I had that shut down very quickly from everybody that knew that. They're like,
You're not going to move me 15 feet away. That's my spot.
Exactly. These people know their numbers, and like you said, they have zero interest in going in any different parking spots. So no, that's another one every Friday night that they've kind of stopped. My event staff has kind of stopped telling me about those issues because they know they're like, we better just handle it ourselves.
That's right. Good call. We're talking to John Steer, the Dorman Athletic Director. I'm on location for the show today, and we'll have the call tonight of Dorman Burns basketball for you coming up at 7. I want to know, though, Reese Sugar just named back-to-back Gatorade Player of the Year. You talked about Thayer Hall and the impact she had on the volleyball program. I kind of felt like after Thayer came through that Thayer was a once-in-a-generation type player, and she is, but to continue to have that consistency with Paula Kirkland's team and the, let me take my shoes off, state championships that she's won now, you know the exact number. It is unbelievable to see Auburn commit Reese Sugar, the impact that she had, not only on her team this year, but on the country as well.
Yeah. So 17-time state champion here with Paula. And signing day, Reese had already signed. She's already at Auburn right now. And so we had two more girls from that team signing, Francois Chastain and Grace America. And it was, as I was introducing Paula to say a few words, I'm saying 17-time state champion, NFHS Hall of Famer, and I was going to keep going on for another, and she just stole the mic from me to make sure she didn't want to hear it. She's like, this isn't about me, Joe. It's nothing to it.
Yeah.
But the program that she has built is just, it just keeps producing year after year after year. And it's, she does it the right way. She's got a great coaching staff that works incredibly hard. Is involved with these girls and they're on the travel scene and from a youth age on up, and has built it the right way. And that's why it's been so sustainable. It's because she has to take shortcuts. She's done it the right way. And she, everybody at Dorman calls her the GOAT. Like, to me, that's an overused term, but with Paula Kirkland, like
17,
there's only one. Ooh. And so she's great. And you know what? She's my assistant athletic director as well, and she helps me on a daily basis. When I first took this job and had no idea what I was doing, it was everybody would leave, and I'd kind of look at Paula and I'd say, "What am I supposed to do now?" And so she's been terrific, and as great of a coach as she is, she's as a mentor, as a friend, she's truly special.
John, I know that Dorman is excellent across so many different sports: football, basketball, volleyball, as you're just talking about. And everybody probably looks at Dorman across the upstate as this big juggernaut that has everything they could possibly need. But take us into kind of the budgeting side of what you do. As much success as you guys have found, I'm sure there are still resource challenges that you have to deal with. Can you go into some of those and tell me ways that you're trying to topple those challenges?
Yeah, absolutely. So, we have a phenomenal Dorman All Sports Booster Club that supports all of our sports programs. They do a great job and help provide a first class experience for all of our teams. But when you're at Norman and you have first class facilities, you have a lot of the best of everything. Everybody picks out. They can find that one school in the state that might have this that's better than Norman, and then there's this school that does it better at this, and then there's this school that has this, and so it's a constant battle of hearing, hey, here's one obscure thing, or here's one thing that this one school has up on you. So, we're constantly trying to not be complacent as coaches and just say, hey, we've got all this stuff. I push them and they push them. I should say they've taught me, hey, we need to be innovative and creative, and we can't just rest on, hey, we've got all this, great facilities and all this. We still have to have that grind mentality. We still have to be the hit the foxhole mentality to make sure our kids are working hard. And we are well aware of the reputation for the people that that want to knock us off the top. That they see that pretty Columbia blue and just assume that Norman is soft. And so I've got such a great collection of coaches that are nitty gritty and yeah, even with all the perks, I want to find the way to get that toughness out of the players.
Don't let them lie to you, Diesel. I walked by a machine. I thought it was a copy machine. It was print money. It literally just walked by. It just printed out cash.
Nights like tonight do help.
Yeah, they do help.
With
3,000,
getting 3,000 people in here. But hey, we're also going to have 12 police officers
right.
and 10 armed security guards. So, it will be a good game. It's all going out the window pretty quickly with that security.
Let's talk about football real quick. I mean, my gosh, what a turnaround. We were talking about superlatives in the NFL a minute ago, and in the NFL you have comeback player of the year. If you have a comeback coach of the year, I think Jake Morris will probably have to win it based on what they did in 2024. So last year, playing for Upper State Championship. The turnaround in 1 year, I think that was pretty phenomenal. I know you and others on staff have to be proud of that.
Yeah, and it's something that we all do. Like internally, we all do. Nobody had their doubts about Jake or where the program was headed or anything like that. But it was good from the outside perspective for everybody to get to see the success that Jake deserved and the team deserved. It was such a great group of kids this past year, and the good news is that same group, that culture is going to continue on next year. So we lose a lot of great players. Polo Anderson, Tate, Christian Waring, those Dave Meadows, all North South and Tri-Bowl guys, and a host of other 20 seniors. But it's going to continue on because of the attitude that they brought. Again, a great, fun group of guys to be around. Polo would stop by our office, our athletic office, almost daily, just to chop it up and show a big smile. And so it's great that Nick Beans and those guys are going to continue to carry it next year and into the future. And again, it's something Jake has learned to build that thing the right way and build a great coaching staff and establish a culture rather than take shortcuts in those first 2 years.
You talked about culture there. A lot of people, fans of sports teams, the culture is great. We got this shiny new thing. What's next? Can you give us a sense or any insights, peeks into what might be coming down the pike in the next year, 2 years for Norman Athletics?
We're looking at always trying to be on the forefront of everything. And so, right now, one of the things, I think one of the sports that's going to get added here within the next 5 years from the high school league standpoint is girls playing football. And so where I'm not trying to necessarily add any work to myself, it's one of those things where, hey, we were on the forefront of boys volleyball, and it's led us to a bunch of state championships and a great program there. Girls volleyball, I felt like girls wrestling, sorry. That was coming in right as I was transitioning into athletic director, and I felt like I was a little behind on that. So, I want to make sure that with a sport like girls playing football, that we're on the forefront of that, and making sure that when the high school league says that's a sport, we're a contender right away and find ourselves in the mix. So that is, it's not something I've talked a whole lot about in the community, but that's something that over the next year or two is going to kind of go to the forefront of my mind with our school board and with our administration. Hey, this is something that we probably need to start trying to figure out how we do this.
That's awesome. My last question for you, talking about the girls' sports, the girls' team tonight. We talked about the boys' game and how fun it'll be tonight at 7:30, but my goodness, Norman girls' team with White and others. I mean, the dominance that they've shown this year. I believe 10-0 now in Region 2 5A play. Just to have a team like that, and you go back the past decade and a half, the success and consistency the programs had. They're probably the best in the state right now for girls games.
Yeah, Coach Dorn has done such a good job. I'm so proud of that team. Like going into Gaffney, hostile environment.
Yeah.
Last night I agreed to, as much as the Burns girls did, agreed to hey, let's flip game times. Let's have that girls game be the showcase game.
Yeah.
And when you make that decision in October, it sounds good. And then all of a sudden it's that night, and that place is packed, and the Gaffney students are going crazy, and you start questioning maybe this wasn't the right decision. But I'm glad that the girls verified that for me and got that win last night. And now the most difficult part of that is that's one that you want to celebrate and be happy about for a while. But hey, they were in here, their PE class first block this morning, clapped it up with them and gave them all high fives. And then they were like, hey, it's time to turn the page. We got Burns tonight. It's such a strong region. And even though like 2-game lead here on Burns, there's still 4 games left. And Burns could get one tonight, but then go to the last week. And it's still all back up in the air. So just got to continue to take care of business. And they've been so poised. That's what I've been so impressed with, because they've got just like our guys, they got the target on their back every time that they take the court, and they've done a very good job handling that run.
John, how hard is it for you to not poke your head into the coach's office all the time and give input? Hey, I like this, I don't like that. We should do this, we should do that. As an old basketball coach, I'm sure you have thoughts that cross your mind that sometimes you got to take a step back and say, all right, I'm going to let Thomas Ryan handle this.
Absolutely. So like each year it's gotten easier. And so like this year is probably the least involved that I've been. The one thing that our boys staff still lets me do is, like, when I came in, I took over stats and compiling our stats and have spreadsheets for every season. This would be the 9th year that I've done it, and in-depth statistics that we've had. And they've continued to allow me to do so. After every game, they keep stats on an iPad during the game. They send it to me, and I compile it. So that's kind of my one connection that I get to still have back to the team. They're probably doing it on their own, but they just like kind of want to make me feel like I'm actually doing something and have some sort of connection. But when you got a coach like Thomas Ryan and Ashley Dorn, like, they're in good hands. You don't have to panic too much. And again, their assistant coaches are phenomenal as well. So that first year it was a little strange, and I was still very invested. But now, like, I love basketball, but like that team is, I love just as much as our baseball team, our softball team, our track teams, and tennis teams. I'm proud of going all around.
All right, real quick before we let you go, who wins Sunday?
I'm gonna go Patriots.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's surprising.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Patriots.
I think everybody else in the world's going Seahawks.
Yeah, I don't know. The Bears will win the NFC next year, and they'll be in there to knock off the Patriots or the Broncos. Really wanted the Broncos. Our superintendent's a huge Broncos fan. We were really hoping for Bears Broncos in the Super Bowl. No, I just feel like they've got just a special something with them, and I do think Greg May feels very Brady-esque to me in his younger years. I know he's a little banged up, but I think he's just gonna find a way to get it done.
Well, we appreciate you, and thank you for letting us see you here tonight and today. We'll talk to you again soon.
Sounds good. Thanks for being
Appreciate
here.
it. John Steer, the Dorman Athletic Director, Diesel. Really good stuff. And again, pregame show tonight at 7 o'clock between Burns and Dorman. Boys at 7:30, girls at 6 o'clock tonight.
Forward to that, Cole. When we come back, let's take a look in to the Waste Management Open in Phoenix. Is Scotty Scheffler right there on the verge of missing his first cut of 2026? Very early in the season. We'll talk about that.
Now at 844 Fan Phone.
This is Wire to Wire with Diesel and Cole Bryson on the Fan Upstate.
You know, Cole, I know we have a lot of Tolos who are probably not that hardcore into golf, and you've been to a practice round for a major. If we have Tolos that want to go see how fun golf can be, they need to be in Phoenix right now for the Waste Management Phoenix Open. This is the party golf tournament. You know, the tee box markers are little trash trucks. This is the one where people are shotgunning beers in the crowd. Ladies are taking their tops off. It gets wild out there at this event.
Yeah, I feel like it's kind of like contradictory of what golf is, because you mentioned a couple of years ago I went to the practice round at Quail Hollow. Last year I was at the PGA Championship at Quail Hollow. And Diesel, I tell you, I loved being at the PGA Championship at Quail Hollow, seeing like the reverence of golf, you know, and you do kind of not dress up, but you want to look sharp. You don't go out there in a wife beater and Crocs, right? And then you see all this stuff on TV and social media from the Waste Management. You're like, what sport is this? You know, I've never heard of this sport before. It's almost like the one event where golf lets its hair down.
True. Yeah, it is. They have their fun at this one. Now, again, you go to a lot of different tournaments, and you're going to see beer cans all over the ground, and you know it's not always as buttoned up as golf would like it to be. Right now, Hideki Matsuyama in the lead. He is 7 under on the day, Cole, with a 10 under overall score. He is finished today. He is doing really well for himself. Chris Gotterup, he's through 3. He was the leader going into the day. He's played 3 holes today. He has gone bogey, par, birdie, so he's sitting at even through his first 3 holes on the day. And here's a wild one for you, Cole. The projected cut line has now moved. It had been sitting at even for the better part of the day. It is moved to 1 under, which means anybody sitting at par or worse not going to be playing golf tomorrow. And Scotty Scheffler is 3 shots outside of the cut line. He is sitting at he's sitting at +2 overall through 3 holes today. He's gone par, par, par. There is a chance that the best golfer in the world misses the cut.
And you know what? Like, golf enthusiasts would say that's terrible for the game. And it like ratings-wise it might be, but you know, it's kind of funny because it just shows how hard that game is. It shows that Scotty Scheffler's human. And it shows that even though he's the best in the world, Diesel, like you said, and he is, it shows that in the game of golf, like it's hard. It is. We've talked about it. What's harder, hitting a baseball at 100 miles an hour or hitting a golf ball? It is extremely challenging. So I'm not saying like it's a good thing for golf that Scotty's not in it, because the ratings would probably tell you otherwise. But it is really interesting to see that Scotty is indeed human, right?
Well, true. And you know, our first thought is, what's going on with Scotty? It's not like, hey, Chris Gotterup is playing really well. Matt Fitzpatrick is playing really, really well. Akshay Bhatia is playing really well. Max Homa is inside the cut. I mean, there are big names out there that are still inside the cut. Cam Young, Victor Hovland. But we care more about what's going on with Scotty Scheffler. Yeah. And you're right. It can very much, I would say it very much hurt the ratings this weekend if Scotty Scheffler is not inside the cut.
I think it will. Let's see, though. Let's see. I mean, if he doesn't make it, we'll find somebody else to cling to for a couple of days. But you're right. Scotty has the draw. Diesel, it is time in the very next segment to do what Tolos have tried to do all week, what a few Tolos did earlier today in the show. We've talked about it. We've previewed the Super Bowl as much as possible for the past 11 days or so. But now it's time to make our official predictions, score predictions. Who wins on Sunday? What's the score? How do we see it playing out? And Tolos, we want to hear from you as well. The winner gets, we can't tell you what the winner gets right now. You'll have to wait until Monday. 844-326-3663. Which Tolo can come closest in terms of the score of the Super Bowl? I hate to break it to you, but this guy right here talking came closest for the national championship. I missed by 1 single point. Who will come closest on Sunday? We'll get those official predictions in next.
Diesel and Cole Bryson.
On the Fan Upstate.
Well, Diesel, the time, it's here. It has come for us to make our official predictions for the big game on Sunday. Who wins the Super Bowl? It is almost here. We have Saturday and then Sunday. It's time for one more football game until August. And Diesel and I have talked about the game. We've predicted. We've given you analysis. We've taken deep dives. We've talked about what Super Bowl foods you'll need on your plate on Sunday. But now it's time to lay it all out there on the line and do some predictions and put on our prediction hats. Tolos, though, we want to hear from you. If you're listening on 97.1 Spartanburg, 97.7 Greenville, 101.5 Anderson, on the Odyssey app, the iHeartRadio app, watching on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube, you need to leave your comments right here. No, right.
Other side.
Other side. How do I?
Down.
Oh, other side.
Yeah, there you go.
Right here. Leave your comments. That was horrible. Leave your comments right here if you're
People
watching.
listening over the air, like, what are they
What
talking
are they
about?
talking about? You got to watch the show every now and then on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. You can see my ugly mug. But let's get official. Let's make those score predictions. I want to know first, though, Diesel, where is Diesel's confidence level in the team he's picking? Before he picks the team, 0 to 100, like the fuel gauge. Where is your confidence meter when it comes to your pick for Sunday?
There's two picks in every man. There's the head and the heart. And the heart tells me that the Patriots are going to pull off an upset because I always love underdogs in these kind of games. But Cole, my head tells me that Seattle is just better across the board. And, we really don't know the condition of Drake May coming off of that injury. We know what Sam Darnold can do with the supposed oblique injury that he had. Plus, he's had 2 weeks to recover from that, and he has not been limited in practice the way that Drake May has. My head, and I'm going to have to go with my head on this. My head tells me that Seattle wins this game, and I think I said this yesterday on the show, by a touchdown or less. The spread was 4.5. You said it moved up to 5. Is that what you told me yesterday?
The last time I looked, it was still 4.5, and it is. It's still 4.5.
My head tells me that we're not going to be far off from that spread. These are two good teams that this Patriots defense is going to get after Sam Darnold, and they're going to be in the backfield with him quite a bit in his face.
Phone lines are open right now, 844-326-3663. We want to know who wins and why. That's what we want to know. You can also text it in, 844-326-3663. Again, you can comment on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube as well. Who wins? What's the score and why? For example, on the Joy Law Firm text line, Jay Tez gets in and says Seattle 34-27. Quick guess. Of all the predictions we have that comes in this segment and on Facebook, Diesel, will Seattle have more votes from the Tolos, or will New England?
Seattle.
You think so?
Seattle, yeah. They're the better team, and people are smart enough, Cole, to go with the better team.
Yeah, I feel like you're right, but here's what's interesting about that. You kind of mentioned this a minute ago. I'm pulling for New England. I think, if I had a pull for a team, I know that sounds weird because 5, 6, 7 years ago, nobody was in the right mind was pulling for New England, right? They were the enemy in a
It's
way.
like rooting for the Empire to win.
Right, 100%. But I find myself rooting for New England. I find myself kind of going back to what you said, thinking that Seattle wins. The spread's 4.5. I do like Seattle to score some points. Here's what's interesting. When we start thinking about how many, the total is set at 45.5. So, do I believe it's going to be a uber high-scoring game? No. I like Seattle's defense a lot, and I also think New England's defense is kind of undervalued. And I also think, Diesel, in a big game, in a Super Bowl, watch me be wrong on Sunday, but I think defense kind of wins early, right? I think it takes time for those teams to settle in offensively, and I say that they'll come out 14-14 in the first 2 minutes of the game. But I do feel like Sunday you're going to see defenses dominate early, and when I come up with my score prediction, I'm thinking about the total. 45.5 points. 20s, mid-20s, low 20s? Is that kind of what you're thinking?
Yeah, I'm thinking of a fairly low-scoring game as well. I mean, I wouldn't be shocked if the loser of this game is in the teens. I mean, I wouldn't be shocked if we're at a 23-17 kind of game.
And that's interesting because I think New England's defense will limit Seattle early. But what I go back to is Jackson Smith-Njigba, right? Like that guy. And let me say this. Let me put it out there as Tolos are still trying to think about who they're going to pick. Get it in your Super Bowl predictions right now at 844-326-3663. Diesel, like, it could be an epic failure if we talk about this game on Monday and Jackson Smith-Njigba only has a few receptions. That guy's the best player on the field. You've got to get up the football. And I know that New England's going to have a game plan for that guy. But if you're Seattle, you do have to force-feed JSN. You do have to make sure that your playmakers get the ball early. I just don't see any way possible you can consistently stop a talent that well, that good of a talent, if he gets the football. He's got to get the football.
Well, true, and the Patriots are really good at playing man defense. But if you're going to leave whoever is going to be matched up against Jackson Smith-Njigba out there on an island by himself, he's going to lose. He's going to lose more of those battles than he wins. That's how you end up with a wide receiver with a huge game with multiple scores.
On the Joy Law Firm text line, RJ gets in and says, "I'm rooting for baseball season to begin more than a team to win this year because the Super Bowl feels very bland, dull." Well, RJ, just wait until the Dodgers win every single game, and then you think the Super Bowl feels dull and nobody else has a chance at baseball. Well, you're going to be running back to football. I can promise you that, because if you're waiting for baseball season, don't be disappointed when the Dodgers win another championship. Stephen Webb says, Seahawks 27, Patriots 21, because ChatGPT said so. That is a great text. So does that mean Chat is picking Seahawks?
I mean,
across the board, all ChatGPTs?
ChatGPT, doesn't have the ability to think for itself. All it can do is aggregate what other websites are predicting, yeah. Cole. So should we flood the internet market with big-time scores for the Patriots so that we can try to influence ChatGPT?
That's fascinating. You said ChatGPT doesn't think for itself. You're right. So it uses all of these different aggregates that you're talking about. But does your ChatGPT, like, let's say, for example, Steven asked his ChatGPT who's going to win the Super Bowl. If I ask mine and you ask yours, it'll be three different answers, though, right? He said 27-21. I'm gonna ask the same question just for a case study here. I'm going to ask my ChatGPT. I know this is great radio, but I do want to know. I'm going to ask, who do you think wins on Sunday, Seahawks or Patriots? Again, Steven said he has ChatGPT, and it said 27-21. I also am going to say, Diesel, I need a score prediction. You ready? All right. Let's see how many different predictions it gives us. What's the common theme here?
I've got a different one from
Do you?
His, yep.
What is yours?
Seattle 24, Patriots 21.
It's same winner, but it's a little bit closer, right? All right, so mine is, what was yours one more time?
24-21 Seattle.
Mine says 27-20 Seattle. So Stephen Webb, there are three different answers. So yes, I get what ChatGPT does to give us answers, but how do we all have three different answers? I thought ChatGPT is ChatGPT. Am I wrong on that?
That's it. We need answers to that question. How come three different people can search the same question and get three different answers? I don't know. I mean, yes, I care about the opinion of ChatGPT, but more than that, I care about the Super Bowl experts, right? What the experts are saying. Data-driven NFL experts. Look, data means everything. You know what we talked about earlier? Drake May getting sacked. But let's talk about that for a second, because we haven't brought that up yet this week, Diesel.
In the very first segment of the show, we talked about Drake May and the way that he's been sacked this year. Drake May has been sacked 15 times in these playoffs. That ranks as the second most taken by any player in single-season, postseason history in the Super Bowl era. Again, May got sacked 15 times thus far in the playoffs. That's second most by any player in a single postseason in the Super Bowl era, Diesel. That's since 1966. That's not a good sign. So if you're looking at that part of the game on Sunday, that's 3 times in each of the 3 AFC playoff games. Now, those are not all on him. His average time to throw in those 3 games has been an average of 3.01 seconds, which was the 6th fastest among 15 quarterbacks to start a postseason game. But his awareness, Diesel, in the pocket might have to improve. So that's one part of this game that we mentioned earlier with the tremendous, I think, 47-something total sacks this year. Will Campbell's been good, the rookie out of LSU, right? The 4th overall pick. But does that not concern you right there when you look at the impending doomsday defense that Seattle used to have and what could be if you're telling me going into this game that New England's given up a record amount of sacks already in the postseason?
And there's a good reason to pick a low-scoring game here. And then they take a lot of sacks because they predicate a lot of what they do on the play action, and that takes time to develop. And, you know, as we've said, Drake May is going to have to use his legs, and if his arm's a little hurt, he might be thinking about it a little too much. He might be holding on the ball just a little bit too long.
I love the Seattle defense, too, by the way. And Tolos, if you just tuned in, get your Super Bowl prediction in 844-326-3663. I just love this defense and the way they play, Diesel. They're averaging 17.2 points per game given up, the defense is. They're giving up an average of 17.2 points per game. You look at the defensive tackle duo, all-pro tackle in Leonard Williams, 2024 first-round pick Byron Murphy, the 3rd. They've played like the best duo in the NFL this year. And they also, those two, Diesel, also have combined for the most quarterback pressures at 108, quarterback hits at 35, and sacks at 14 among 300-pound duos per CBS Sports Research. And then you look at the guy we just talked about, Nick Manwari, 18 quarterback pressures. You know what that does? That leads all defensive backs this season. Oh, and by the way, look at what DeMarcus Lawrence has done, the former Dallas Cowboy, one of their edge rushers, who has led the league this season with 2 fumble returns for a touchdown. So, like, as we make these predictions and prognostications, I know the Patriots are a good team. But, Diesel, here's where I am. Everything I read, everything I find is telling me Seattle wins this game. And not only that, everything I read and everything I find is telling me that they not only win the game, they cover the spread. I just don't know that this Patriots offense is going to be able to hold up for 4 quarters against the level of play that Seattle's going to bring on Sunday.
Is it a good thing for football, though, if a relative small market or a far-flung distant market ends up winning this game? I think it's great. You know, I love when the non-traditional players are getting it done. It feels like we're kind of healing from the long dynasties. And one of those things that scares me is Drake May's a young guy. You know, he's only been in the league now, his 2nd season in the league, and they could be setting themselves up to be in another dynasty. And I don't want to see that happen in New England again. I want to see somebody new out there getting it done. By the way, a live update for you here from the Waste Management. Chris Goddard just birdied a chip from looks like he's about 15 feet off the edge of the green on number 5. He birdies that one. He's now moved up to tied for 2nd place. Scotty Scheffler just birdied as well, the 4th. So Scotty now at +1 and the projected cut still -1. So Scotty, early in his round, a lot of time. He's got to make up some ground and start hitting some birds.
Well, you talk about Drake May there, Diesel. I think if you're New England going into this game, as I, like, all week long, as I've thought about my prediction and who wins, how this thing plays out, I think if you're New England, you have to come into this game and just trust the other guys. I think those other guys have to take pressure off of Drake May, literal pressure and figurative pressure as well, because, like, you don't win Super Bowls without running the football. If you're New England, you've got to be able to run the football on Sunday. But what worries you is, on the flip side, Seattle led the NFL in yards per carry allowed. So, does that trend continue? They played the lowest rate of base defense in the league this year at just 6%. Drake May, I don't think Diesel will be able to overcome what Seattle's defense presents as a whole on all three levels, from the line, the backers, to the secondary. But I do think Drake May has the talent at running back and receivers to get the ball out. You know how we always remember Tom Brady being so good at getting the ball out so quickly? That's what Drake May's going to have to do. And on the other side, we hadn't really talked about this much today, but Sam Darnold. Do we trust Sam Darnold in the biggest game ever? Because we saw what happened last year in the playoffs, a collapse. At times, throughout his career, he has collapsed, Diesel. He's been really, really good the past 2 seasons. But does it worry you at all? Because I don't think anybody would have predicted that Sam Darnold was 2025's best quarterback, and even the best quarterback in the postseason, which, by the way, he leads all 15 quarterbacks, Diesel, to start a playoff game this postseason in yards per pass attempt at 8.9, touchdown to interception ratio at 4.0. He hadn't turned the ball over this postseason. He's tied with Jordan Love, passer rating at 122, 0 turnovers. Jalen Hurts was in the same category, but this high level of play hasn't prevented him from taking sacks, because they have given up the 5th most sacks in the league. But the fact that he's played so much turnover-free football, that could either give you a good feeling or worry you a little bit that maybe Sam Darnold chooses the biggest stage to have a turnover or two.
I mean, I would love to see Sam Darnold serve as an example, and we talked about this last week, an example to players that are in a bad situation, that they can move from team to team to team. And think about it like this, Cole. As bad as Sam Darnold was in New York, they saw something in him in Carolina. And as bad as he was in Carolina, they saw something in him in San Francisco. And then they saw something in him in Minnesota. And then they saw something in him in Seattle. This could serve as a great example for those players who may feel a little discouraged by the situation that they were drafted into. And this could be a phenomenal story, right? This is a true underdog story of a guy that's been kicked around from team to team to team, finally lands himself in a great position, and goes and wins it all.
All right.
It would be amazing. We have a texter here who says that Sam Darnold turns back into the pumpkin that he is.
Ooh.
New England by 10.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah.
Tolo J. Butane going 41-13. Seattle, good God. RJ says if the Seahawks end up in the same situation as that Super Bowl, they give the ball to the running back on the goal line this time. Give me Seattle 28-27. Diesel, here's my prediction. I'm not going to be quite as aggressive as Jay Butane, who went 41-13, but I'm going to give you some reasons why Seattle wins on Sunday. Number one, their defense is elite. Number two, I think Rashid Shaheed makes a play on the special teams side of things and possibly could bring us our first punt return touchdown in Super Bowl history.
Wow.
There have been 10 kickoff return touchdowns across the NFL's 59 Super Bowls, but there's never been a punt return touchdown. Rashid Shaheed could become the first ever in NFL history to take the punt back for a touchdown in the big game. He is the only player, he's the only player who had both a kickoff and a punt return touchdown in the regular season, and he's the only player with a kick or punt return touchdown this postseason. That was a 95-yard kickoff return to open up the 41-6 beatdown of San Francisco. I'm going, because of Seattle's defense, because of what Rashid Shaheed can do with special teams, and let's not forget, we've neglected this guy all year long. Just a couple of years ago, Diesel, he won a Super Bowl MVP, and he could be the first non-quarterback ever to win multiple Super Bowl MVPs. Who am I talking about? Wide receiver Cooper Kupp won a Super Bowl just a few years ago with Matthew Stafford. Let's not forget that guy can still play. With all that being said, I'm going to take Seattle on Sunday, 31-14. 31-14.
Wow.
I don't think it's that close.
Beat down.
Yeah, I think
down.
Seattle puts it on them. I really do.
I've got it a lot closer than that, Cole. I think this Patriots defense is going to get after Sam Darnold and slow him down considerably. I'm going Seattle 24, New England 17.
All right. There we go.
24-17.
I love it.
When we come back, let's put a bow on South Carolina and Clemson recruiting with one the only Phil Kornbluth next.
844-636-6363. That's 844-FAN-PHONE. This is Wired to Wire with Cole Bryson and Diesel from the Fan Upstate.
You know, Cole, you hear stories about people forgetting that it's their birthday. Like it just comes and goes, and they didn't have any realization that, oh man, that was a big day that just passed us by. And it kind of feels like that's where we've gotten now with National Signing Day. The early signing day has become the signing day, and now the signing day is essentially late signing day. And well, at that point, all the fireworks have been shot off. There's not a lot going on. But to talk about what's going on in college recruiting here in the state of South Carolina, because more than what most of us think has happened, is Phil Kornblut of Sports Talk Media Network. Phil, you've been covering recruiting here in the state of South Carolina for a number of years, and you know the methods of getting this information have certainly changed a lot. It's a lot of surfing Twitter. What is it about recruiting that still just has you locked in the way that you always have been?
Well, I mean, it's a drug for me. I've just been addicted to it. You mentioned the signing day, February signing day. It was my 42nd February signing day, actually covering recruiting on a hardcore basis. It actually probably go back maybe another 3 or 4 years, but in 1984 when we started Sports Talk, that's when I was able to really get into it in a big time way. So I don't know. I mean, I think about it a lot. When I was coming along doing the show and we were growing the show, still trying to feel our way, my boss, Don Williams, he encouraged me to cover recruiting. He gave me the wherewithal to do it. But back then, everything was done on the phone, so I ran up a huge phone bill for the network. But they signed off on it. They said whatever you need. So I just got hooked. Well, and I will say back then, it became kind of an identity that I'm kind of stuck with today. Nobody knew me from Adam Poundcat way back then, but people who started following recruiting and living and dying with recruiting, all of a sudden, they knew who I was. I had people who would call me and ask me questions about this recruit, that recruit, and I kind of liked it. I said, hey, this is an avenue. Everybody's looking for an avenue. This is an avenue to maybe make something out of this. So, and it just became like breathing to me. I can honestly say there hasn't been a day that's gone by in 42 years where recruiting hasn't been on my mind in some way. So it's part of my everyday being. Bill, did you say that's good or bad? It's probably bad, but just the way it is. Did you say Don Williams was your boss? Don Williams was my boss. He hired me. Like Tulsa time Don Williams or another Don Williams? No, there's another Don Williams. He's not that talented. This is the Don Williams. This is the Don Williams who grew up in Greenville, with Oriental Ohio, was the first baseman, and worked in radio in South Carolina, in Mullins, Florence, then came to the network. He created Sports Talk, and he also worked alongside Bob Fulton. In all honesty, he should have been the person who replaced Bob Fulton as the voice for GameStop. But, politics and personal feelings get in the way of decisions, of course. He should have been the next voice for GameStop. He's an excellent play-by-play announcer. But anyway, that's who hired me. Love it.
Interesting. Phil, we've made a lot about who Clemson and South Carolina have both brought in via recruiting, and we'll get to them here in just a second. But can you give us any ideas of the biggest gets for the other schools in the state? Coastal Carolina being the third FBS playing school, and we got a lot of FCS schools here as well. Some of the biggest gets for them.
Well, Coastal, and again, I don't follow those schools player by player like I do South Carolina Clemson for obvious reasons. Coastal did pick up, they took a lot of transfers from Missouri State, obviously, with their coaching staff. They took a lot of transfers from Missouri State, and
They got a couple of good quarterbacks. They got I want to make sure I got this right in my head. I don't have my information in front of me, but I want to say they got a junior college quarterback who's pretty good. I hope I'm not confusing this with another class. I think they got a junior college quarterback that's pretty good. They took some people, some free agents, and again, they took several from Missouri State. So otherwise, yeah, I really can't give you a qualitative analysis of those classes because, A, I don't do qualitative analysis, and B, I don't know enough about those players. Like, Furman just signed 4 more players, I think, on Wednesday. Wofford announced about 8 or 9 transfers. Newberry always signs 45 or 50 players, and 95% are from South Carolina. They do a great job, Coach Todd Knight, his group, and they took some transfers. I don't call the smaller schools, I call their transfers because I don't think they're dealing with money in getting these guys like South Carolina and Clemson are actually dealing monetarily with free agent type business. So I kind of separate those two. But Newberry looks good. Benedict has signed about 25 players, a lot of transfers for them. Haven't seen yet anything. No South Carolina State and Presbyterian. I mentioned Wofford. I haven't seen any signees released by them yet. So that remains to be seen for those places. Citadel signed about 10 guys. So hard to judge what those guys do until they actually get on the field. And if they sign anybody who's like really, really good, then they'll be leaving after a year anyway to move up to a bigger program.
Yep, no doubt about it. I was thinking the same thing. We talked about that last week when I was at the Wofford game a couple of days ago. I mean, it's a sad reality, but that is what it is, Phil. We're talking to Phil Cornfluke, Sports Talk Media Network, right here on the Fan Upstate. You asked Shane Beamer on Wednesday about the punishment or what a penalty should be, Phil, for a head coach who tampers with a player who signed the contract with another school after a couple of weeks now passed from Dabo Sweeney's rant about what happened with Luke Torelli and Ole Miss. Shane Beamer, I mean, do you feel like Shane Beamer and Dabo are pretty much on the same page when it comes to what happened with Luke Torelli, and maybe Shane Beamer will continue to be more outspoken about things like this?
Absolutely. I think they agree 100%. And I think that what Shane said was right on. I mean, it's got to be severe. It's got to be severe. I mean, you just can't let what Pete Golding did, and I don't think there's any reason to say alleged. They've got all the proof they need. This isn't the O.J. Simpson case. They've got all the proof they need. It wasn't planted. They've got the text messages. They've got the phone call data. They've got everything they need to prove that he was tampering with a student at Clemson, somebody who's already in class, already in football meetings, already working out. And so, yeah, it's got to be harsh. I mean, there should be suspensions involved. There should be ineligibility involved. There should be fines involved. There should be reduction in roster size. The NCAA needs to drop. If it's ever dropped a hammer, and it's, they dropped back in the old days. They dropped the hammer on Clemson. They dropped the hammer on SMU and various other programs. I mean, that's for an individual coach. The hammer should be dropped here. There's no question about it. If not, then you're going to just see this cherry picking all over college sports now, with disregarding whether or not a player is on your team, on a team, in class. They'll just be outright in your face. It could happen on a handshake line. Hey, man, give me a call when you get home. I got something for you. It could happen on a handshake line. So there's got to be something put in place here that a judge won't overturn.
Is it frustrating to you that as much airtight information as we have, and I get investigations take time. The court of public opinion is moving super fast, but investigations do take time. I guess the NCAA reps have to walk to Oxford. That's what's taking them so long. But with it as cut and dry as it is, are you surprised that we still basically have heard nothing out of Oxford?
Yes, I am. I mean, this looks like an open and shut case. Now, you know, we're not lawyers, and also, with the NCAA, they, you know, they're like the Washington Generals when it comes to court cases. They lose every time. So they want to make sure they've got everything in place, everything in order, because anything they do, they know that there's going to be a lawsuit flying back in their face by somebody, either the player or the university or the coach. And they've just got a terrible track record. Anything they try to do to reel things in. So I'm sure when they decide what they're going to do, they want to make sure it's airtight and will pass the muster of a court case. I'm surprised we haven't heard a word from Greg Sankey about this case. I'm surprised we haven't heard a word from Dr. Jim Phillips of the ACC about Miami snatching Duke's quarterback. Same thing. I mean, Miami just took Duke's quarterback.
Do they
who was under
care, Phil?
contract.
Do they care?
Well, that's my point. Maybe they don't.
Yeah.
The bigger question is, should they care?
Right.
Should they care? And I think the answer is yes, you should care. But
Well,
here's
Phil,
Greg Sankey. Here's Greg Sankey. He sees one of his teams getting better by taking a player from a rival league. You think he's going to go out of his way to punish his own team for violating the black and white rule? If he's got any sort of character to him, he would. But, you know, I've never forgiven him for breaking the South Carolina Clemson rivalry streak during the COVID year. I've put that totally on him, and he's always been on my blacklist since that moment.
well, and Phil, it's fascinating that Greg Sankey has come out against Alabama for the NCAA when it comes to, this Charles Bediako being able to play basketball. I know that it's a different scenario because it's eligibility and it's a pro coming back, but still, I mean, how do you allow obvious improprieties in one sport but not in another?
One's called football. One's called basketball. One's called the golden calf. You know, the other one is the lamb.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I think, and again, I'm just being very cynical here. I don't know what's going on. I'm just being very cynical. And I think it's fine to be cynical. I don't know, you know, he took a position that's opposite of what Nate Oates is taking. Nate Oates' position is, hey, if we're going to start legislating this out, then you better take a look at all the former European pros who are on rosters and you legislate them out as well. He says, we're not doing anything any different than anybody else who's taking a foreign kid who played professional ball over there and is now playing over here. What's the difference? And, you know, he makes a pretty good argument there. So I think, you know, that I don't know if they issued the judge is supposed to be issuing a ruling on the temporary injunction any time now. And this is taking place in Tuscaloosa. It is basketball. It's not football, but football, we know how it's going to be ruled. The basketball's got pretty strong there as well. You know, interesting that the original judge, I don't think the original judge who's the donor to Alabama, I don't think he's now hearing this case. I think he recused himself, if I'm not mistaken. But heck, this judge is probably an Alabama fan. He's in Tuscaloosa. What do you expect? So, I don't know. This is a guy that's never played in the NBA. He was just drafted, right? He never played in the NBA. He got drafted, but then went to the G League. Am I right about that?
Yeah, played the G League.
Yes. Yeah. Well, I saw where Maryland's getting an official visit from a G Leaguer. So it's starting to spread. And that's what happens in college sports. One team does it and everybody else follows suit. So until somebody slams the door and puts a rule in place that you can't do it, you're going to see more and more of it.
Phil, my last question for you, a big picture South Carolina related question. We kind of hinted at this before with other guests, but I hadn't asked you this. I hadn't heard your thoughts on this. We know what kind of season Lamont Paris is having on the basketball court. We know what kind of season Paul Maneri had last year, and we know what kind of season Shane Beamer had last year. I think Jeremiah Donati could potentially be in a tough spot here. In your opinion, from your experience, this offseason, when we come to, I mean, hey, it could be a couple of months with basketball season ending here in a few months, but when you look at the big three sports, baseball, basketball, and football, is it crazy? Is it out of the realm of possibility to think that South Carolina could have more than one head coaching change from those three sports this offseason?
Well, I mean, you never say never.
Right.
But, my God, they can't be as bad in 26 as they were in 25 across the board. I mean, you know, you hit rock bottom, you got to start coming back towards the surface. And we'll see what baseball does. You know, baseball's a good jump start. That's a fresh start for the next calendar year. I mean, basketball started in 25, bleeds over to 26. Baseball's a pure single calendar sport. Starts in 26, ends in 26. So we'll see if that could be the jump start. Of course, they've had injuries that have set them back a little bit, but he likes this team. I was over there yesterday listening to him. He really likes this team, and sometimes injuries can be a little bit of a blessing. I mean, you hate to lose Jake McCoy for the season. The good news is you're going to get Alex Philpott back probably in time for the Florida series when they start getting into SEC play. So if the other guys can carry the freight, then you can add another quality arm to your rotation. That becomes kind of a bonus for you. You're going to get Bo Hollins back at some point once his shoulder gets healthy. The good news is Scobie didn't hurt his shoulder too badly. They've got a second baseman who's a 14 All-American by the Baseball Writers Association, so he's pretty good. So you've got a veteran catcher back, which is something that they struggled at catcher last year when LeCroy went down. So he's back and healthy, and that really solves a big problem because if you're bad at catcher, you're going to be bad pretty much everywhere. It's going to hurt you all over the place. So that's going to help. So, I mean, will they win more than 28 regular season games? I got to think so. So, but going back to your bigger question, I mean, the buyout for Paris after this season would be $12 million. So I don't think he's not going anywhere. And then the buyout for Beamer would be, I don't know off the top of my head, $8 million a year. So that would be, if you're talking about a lot of money. And I mean, South Carolina just doesn't print money like some places. And I know some of the donors are getting tired of donating over and over again, especially the buyout contracts. The legislature's had something to say about that as well. You know, back when Muschamp was fired, they had a big hearing about that. So sometimes you just got to live with it and hope that things turn around. So I do not, because I'm an optimist, I'm going to put it on the argument that they're going to be better across the board, and there's going to be no need to fire the coach. How about we look at it that way?
Yeah, I like it. Glass half full, I guess, right?
Yeah.
Well, Phil,
Right
as
on.
I like it, I'm with it. I think as long as it happens, we're in good shape. We'll see if it does. As always, man, we appreciate your time. It was good catching
Sure.
up with you, and we'll do it again soon.
Hey, guys, keep in touch. I think it sounds like you're at a gym. You got a game tonight?
I do. Diesel's anchoring it down back to the Eagles Market Studios. I'm at Dorman High School. Dorman Burns basketball tonight, and doing the show from here. So here all afternoon.
That's big. That's great.
It
Good
is.
for the Cat. That's good work. That's good work when you're in.
Well, Phil, as always, we'll talk to you soon, and appreciate your time.
Yes, guys. Thank you very much.
Phil Kornblut, Sports Talk Media Network. Diesel, we've got to get to our headlines, the biggest stories in sports, our Daily Wires next, right here on the Fan Upstate.
After a blown call.
844 Fan Zone. This is Wire to Wire with Diesel and Cole Bryson on the Fan Upstate.
Well, this is what you call a super fast edition of the Daily Wires. Right here on the Fan Upstate. Let's see how fast I can talk. Get this thing through the books. Charlotte Hornets continue their winning streak. Diesel stretching into 8 straight, 109-99 win over Katy and the Houston Rockets. How about Concanepal scoring 24, LaMelo scoring 18? They'll face the Hogs on Sunday, and they are rolling.
Talk about buzz.
Love
That's
it, man.
buzz.
That's right. Buzz City, baby. That's right. Matthew Stafford won the NFL MVP, barely edging Patriots quarterback Drake May. We talked about that in the very first segment of the show. Also, Carolina Panthers wide receiver Pat McMillan was named the AV Offensive Rookie of the Year, the first Panther to win the award since Cam Newton in 2011. How about Joyce Edwards last night, surpassing the 1,000 career point mark, an 88-45 win, just squeaked by Mississippi State. She needed 18. She scored 21. She's now the third sophomore in South Carolina program history to reach that mark. Sheila Foster and Asia Wilson are the other two. Sheila Foster of Boiling Spring, so that is awesome to be in that class. The LA Bowl, Diesel, how about this? Shutting down the doors. Just after 5 years of play, the game was developed as a showcase for the brand new multi-million-dollar complex built by the Rams owner. And now, boy, is this going to be a chain reaction here with bowl games?
I'd love to see about 10 of them go away.
Yeah, you think so?
Yeah.
The Dallas Cowboys will make history in 2026, playing the first NFL regular season game in Rio de Janeiro. Did I say that right? Hope so. Hope maybe close enough, right? This will be the third straight year the NFL will have a regular season game in Brazil. The first two were played in São Paulo. So we'll get to see the Cowboys in Brazil. Okay.
Cowboy,
See,
baby.
we'll see. We'll keep you updated on the Phoenix Open. Carolina Hurricanes defeated the New York Rangers last night. Also, the Olympic opening ceremonies, last one for you. They began around 8 p.m. local and Diesel 2 p.m. Eastern here in the U.S. They are underway. How about that? We get to watch a little Olympics here the next few days.
Yeah, the Parade of Nations was going down earlier today, live, of course. And then they'll re-air it tonight at 8 o'clock on NBC Peacock.
I love it. I love it. Those are your daily watches.
When we come back, Cole, they have heard us talking about the Super Bowl ad nauseum, some of the best from Radio Row, the people actually out there talking to the stars that are walking around. We'll get to some of that audio next.
Streaming on the free Odyssey app. Search
Well, we promised you a little live update from the Waste Management Phoenix Open. Our leader still Hideki Matsuyama. He is at 10 under through 2 rounds, Cole. In second place, Chris Gotterup, again, who led the field going into today, is sitting at even par on the day. He has 2 bogeys and 2 birdies. He just bogeyed the 8th. So a little bit of struggles. You know, Scotty Scheffler got a little wild on his tee shot a couple of holes back and put one over in the bunker. Again, the projected cut line -1, and Scotty Scheffler is sitting at +1. So he's got to make up 2 strokes. Also in danger of being cut. Thorbjorn Olesen, Jordan Spieth, Harris English, who has won a lot of golf. Brooks Koepka is in danger of being cut as well. Brooks is sitting at 2 over overall, -2 on the day. So still a lot of work.
Can he go back to live after he's cut?
He's like, wait a minute. I'm not used to results actually mattering.
I'm kidding. That was mean, but kind of true. You're
Yeah.
right. Results do matter.
I mean,
For Brooks.
Brooks, like I said, Brooks on the day, he was 2 under on the day. So he didn't play a bad round of golf. He had 2 bogeys on the 2nd and the 9th. He birdied 6, 13, 15, and 17. We got to remember that Brooks Koepka he's kind of over the hill, right? I mean, he's a young-ish guy, but Brooks's prime was like 7, 8 years ago.
It was. And you know what? It just goes to show with this Waste Management, maybe the golfers are participating in a little of this wild side. We talked about earlier. It's golf letting their hair down a little bit, right?
Yeah.
Scotty, what's he been doing lately?
There was one scene, Cole, in that one hole. I don't know where he was on the golf course at the time, but Scotty goes a little wide left, puts one in the bunker. They put the camera right on his face, and there were some 4-letter words coming out of Scotty Scheffler's mouth. So, I mean, he had just birdied the hole before, so he felt like he had a little momentum, and then bam, he puts one in the sand trap there, and his struggles do continue. So it's going to be fun to watch. There was a shot of the crowd where they had that sort of crane camera going down the front 3 or 4 rows. And 2 whole sections, Cole, everybody was dressed up like bananas. So people are having fun. They don't do this at the U.S. Open. There's somebody holding a Seattle Seahawks 12th man flag behind the golfer Matt Fitzpatrick is putting right now.
Hey, speaking of events, real quick before we get back into the Super Bowl, what happened today? What happened with the old Rock the Country? I mean, I don't know if the Tolo saw this or not, but it's been axed. It's been cut. It's been canceled.
Yeah, there's a lot of speculation, Cole, as to what happened with this event. And I went last year. I
did too.
I guess it was
We were there
Sunday
the
of
same
last
night.
year.
Me and you
Yeah,
were.
we didn't see each other. I think we were, we both needed to get in the beer line at different times.
I
It
was
happens.
actually at the very, very front.
Oh, look at you, big time up there with the
Spoozing
high
off
dollar
somebody.
No, it was a lot of fun last year. It was a huge event, and through all of this, I feel really bad for number one, the people that already bought the tickets and were excited to go. Number 2, all of the businesses in the Anderson area that are going to lose out on a lot of money. Right? They need big time events like this.
All kidding aside, though, like 1 or 2 groups dropping out, Diesel, that really shouldn't
have
affect
been.
it. I mean, there's like 30 performers. I mean, 30 bands.
Right, and this is actually a tour, right? There's like 6 or 7 Rock the Country events scheduled all over the country.
All over the country, yeah.
This is the only one that's being canceled as of right now. It's the only
I'm
one we know of
confused,
that's going to be
man.
canceled. So I don't know that Shinedown dropping off of this thing or Ludacris dropping off of this thing are the reason why the whole event has been canceled.
Well-
I think there's something else going on that we don't know about yet.
Is it bad that I've never heard of Shinedown? Is that bad?
Yeah, you have.
No,
Shinedown's one of the biggest rock bands on the planet.
I don't know. I don't listen to rock.
Yeah, you have.
No.
You've heard of them. Crow and the Butterfly, Second Chance,
No.
the 45. I'm staring down the barrel of a 45. You know these songs.
I don't.
Yeah,
I'm telling you, I don't know any. I don't
God.
listen to rock.
Oh man, you've got your head under a rock.
I
Dave, if you
do.
don't know these artists.
I listen to one genre. That's pretty much it. So
Wow.
it was supposed to take place, July 25th, 26th, Anderson. And right now,
Correct.
you're right, Ludacris and Shinedown look like the only 2 that have dropped out. They have not said why they've canceled it yet, but I can't imagine, man, that those two, I mean, you talk about a significant economic impact. We were there last year. That place was stupid. Now, the only thing I will say that would make that event better is if it weren't on the hottest day of the year. Like, that's stupid.
It was brutal there last year. That is
Brutal.
for sure.
People were passed out that weren't even drinking. Like, you're just dropping like flies out there.
Yeah,
So-
it was tough, man.
We'll
It was
see
tough.
what happens.
Yeah, hopefully something can be put together to make up for that event lost in Anderson. Because, like I said, there's a lot of people, business owners, restaurant owners, heck, people who let people park in their front yards for $20 a car,
Sure.
who depend on that kind of
Yeah.
money. So they're going to lose out on that. Cole, let's hear from the players who are going to be a part of the Super Bowl this weekend, Super Bowl 60 from Radio Row. We've talked about it. We've prognosticated it. Both of us have Seattle winning this football game. But let's hear directly from some of them, Cole, in no particular order. We'll group them by team here. How about Kalavian Chason of the New England Patriots? And you have bagged on this Patriots defense a little bit. Some people have bagged on them more than you have. But here is Kalavian Chason on what it's like to have his defense be disrespected going into the big game.
Something we may decide, but I think it's the ultimate thing for us, man. We just want to play up to our standards for sure, and what level of ball that we can play, and what how good the game for sure. So whatever may outside may say, and compared to or whatever it may be, I think with the defense inside the building, man, I feel like we can just bring out the business and we got another.
What did he just say? To whom it may decide,
Yeah, to whom
What-
it may decide.
whatever, and what why fours. What is he saying?
Real quick, look, do I think the Patriots defense is, the best defense since sliced bread? No, I don't. But I'm not picking Seattle, to be fair. I'm not picking Seattle because I don't think the Patriots defense is good. I just think that the Seahawks defense is the better unit. And again, that's no disrespect to New England because they have a very good unit. But we're talking about Seattle's unit that's really, really good, like borderline elite. So I don't want to act like I'm just disrespecting the New England Patriots defense altogether. I think they're fair. I think they're good. I think they'll be good on Sunday. But at the end of the day, I'm going to go with the playmakers, and I think Seattle has a few more playmakers.
That's fair. One of those, by the way, stay in school, kids. To whom it may decide.
That's new.
to
It's new slang.
Kalavian Chason. Never heard that phrase
It's new,
before.
Diesel. You got to keep
Is
the
it-
times, man.
What all the kids are saying?
What are you
Is that you're
doing?
telling me?
Get with the times.
This is one of those dumb questions. Why would you ask a football player the question, hey, what are you going to be thinking about while you're playing in the Super Bowl? Hopefully the answer is the Super Bowl. Duh. Here is Marcus Jones on what he'll be thinking about while playing in the Super Bowl.
I don't feel like it's one moment. I would say it's many moments, over time. The early workouts with my dad. Also just preparing when it comes down to being in college and taking advantage of any opportunities that I have. So I'm glad for the ups and the downs they end up having me at this moment.
Again, if you're thinking about your workouts from when you were 15 years old while you're playing in the Super Bowl, you're not focused on the Super Bowl.
Well, I think it's a terrible question, and I don't know that it's his fault for answering. I'll tell you this. Let me ask you this, rather. What was worse, the question that you just heard or the reporter the other day that asked Mike Vrabel if this was a must-win game? I mean, which one?
The must-win game. Is this a must-win game?
I mean, I don't know. Yes, you're right. That is the world's, and I'm going to say world's dumbest question. But this one's pretty dumb. I mean, look, here's my whole thing on this question stuff real quick, not to go on a tangent. I don't judge people because they ask the question when it comes to dumb questions, Diesel. I just judge people because, like, as a journalist and somebody who's in the media, you only get a few opportunities like this. You only get a few chances in life to be able to ask a question on, the Super Bowl, the eve of the Super Bowl. So I'm not judging because it was a bad question. I'm just judging because you may not get other opportunities to be asking questions of Super Bowl players who are fixing to play the biggest game of their life. And my whole thing is, hey, I don't know if you have this opportunity and you're interviewing players right before they play for the Super Bowl. I'm just thinking maybe have a good question. I'm just thinking maybe ask something that's actually going to be thought-provoking instead of these. I mean, there have been a ton. We're not talking about that. There have been a ton, and I mean a ton of terrible questions asked this week at Radio Row. It's been really, really bad.
Look, as a reporter at an event like that, and I've done big like rock festival events. You don't want to ask them the same questions that everybody's asking them because it's not unique and it's not fun, and you don't feel like you're coming up with interesting and original questions.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean that you should be asking stupid questions. That's like asking, hey, have you decided what you're going to have for dinner after the game if you lose? Like, why would you ask me that question?
Oh, speaking of losing, hey, I'm glad you brought that up. You know what we don't talk about, we have talked about, and I don't know why this isn't talked about more. You know how, like, both teams have rented out clubs and whatever in case they win, and they have the meals already planned. And would you be okay losing the Super Bowl, speaking of meals after you lose, and having to go with your team to that big party, that big club, and eat that big gourmet meal after you just lost? Like, are you okay with that, or do you skip?
I mean, I'm still hungry. Like, I still want to eat.
No, I'm with you.
so-
You're right. You still work hard, right?
No, not me. I would not want to be around other people. I would go into my own little bubble. I'd order some room service to the room, and I don't want to talk to anybody else.
But you say that I'm the guy that you're. I mean, I asked the question, but I kind of agree with your first half joking answer. Hey, you know what makes me happy? Steak and lobster. You know it.
Yeah. I'm really disappointed. I'm sad right now, but man, that filet mignon just put a smile back on my face.
No doubt. We'll catch you next year, guys.
Before we hear any more audio, Cole, and we got a bunch of it, let's go to the phone lines and let's bring in for his official prediction. And this, Cole, is definitely going to be the one that ends up dead on correct. Let's go to Dewey. Dewey, welcome to the show.
Well, after careful consideration, I know y'all wanting Seattle to win, but Seattle's not going to win the game.
Oh.
Sam Darnold, he's going to crap the Bills. I mean, he's going to crap it like never before. Throw a bunch of interceptions, sacks about a dozen times. They're not going to get it done. Jake Mayfield ain't going to be no better either. But
Who?
I think New England will get it done. It's a shit, New England.
10-6.
Who is Drake Mayfield?
That's the quarterback, Drake May or Mayfield or Bluefield or whatever his name is.
Dude, you're an idiot.
Moonfield,
What are we talking
Redfield,
about
Bluefield.
right now?
Gosh, Dewey.
And I got my spread ready, my meal, and I got to get my beer together. I have 6 different beers.
I'm going to regret
Goulash
asking
and milk.
this.
We know what your meal's going to be.
Well, I was going to say, Diesel, I'm going to regret asking this, but what's your lineup? What's your feast going to look like Sunday, Dewey?
They got meatballs and chicken tenders and hamburger sliders.
Wow,
And
Sounds pretty good.
it does.
and beer pie.
Can Diesel and I come?
No, it's just for me and the mystery.
Oh, wow.
And
Thanks.
Rick and Greer, Tom Sullivan come too.
But not Diesel.
Well, we
not
can't.
Cole. Thanks a lot, Dewey.
And Matt,
Alright.
Matt Crab's not allowed to either because he's a disgrace.
Thank you, Dewey. Enjoy your Super Bowl Sunday, would you?
So,
Thank you, Dewey.
Where's Matt Crab at, by the way? I mean, has Matt
don't
Crab?
know.
I mean, what are we
Still
doing
sad.
here? Miami
Still
lost
sad,
a long
still
time
sulky.
ago.
He said, Cole, that we went a little too hard on him
Oh,
and questioned his integrity after the game, so he's not coming back.
oh my God. He'll be back. What? He'll be
Yeah.
back. He'll be
Let's
back.
hear from Mike Vrabel, the head coach of the Patriots, on how his team is preparing for this game.
Well, I mean, I think we try to make it as normal as we possibly can, knowing that it's not going to be, and we try to stay on the same routine and try to keep the meeting times the same, the treatment times, and I think that these guys were able to work on Monday, have yesterday off. There was a lot of activity around the hotel, the meeting rooms, and guys are getting together and watching tape and And I think that's what everybody has to do to make sure that they're ready. And I think the next 48 hours will be critical for us as we, kind of get back into our normal routine here of a Wednesday and Thursday, and then the families come in and this things start to ramp up.
So business as usual for the Patriots and how they're going to do things. Cole, let's hear from Sam Darnold, the quarterback of the Seahawks, on what he's got to do to prove some of his old teams wrong.
Wow.
I think it living like sometimes hard work and dedication, hours like put in, obviously during the season, that just it leads to this. And that's kind of my mindset.
What a weak answer, Cole. What a weak answer. You say, screw you, screw you, screw you. I'm here, deal with it.
He's too much of a pro. He's a pro's pro. What can you say, man? Sam Darnold's a class act. And it's funny because it's not a bigger story. Well, let me say this. It's not as big of a story as you would think it would be. Because, you're right. You said it. All these teams that have not believed in him, that have taken chances on him, that he's bounced around. You would think that kind of quarterback going into the Super Bowl now with a chance to win. Oh, by the way, his first year in Seattle. You'd think, hey, what a story this is. But because of his demeanor, because of kind of just the way Sam Darnold is, it's kind of like I don't want to say it's a dull Super Bowl like RJ said earlier on the text line, but it is. He's not a polarizing figure is the word I was looking for.
One more piece of audio, and then we'll get to Tom in Somerville on the line. Here is our guy, Nick Emanwari, on how he's preparing for the game with a bum wheel.
Just probably a little bit more rehab and a little bit more care, focus on it. I mean, don't want to think of it too much. I feel good right now. So I don't clutter my mind with this bad stuff, nonsense. But I know how I feel. I'm ready. Gotta keep focusing and protect the rehab.
Players talk about, the mental aspect and playing scared and playing slow because you're trying to favor maybe an injury, and you can't play that way. You got to play 100% until your leg says you cannot go.
Sure. You got to do it, man. Let's go to Tom in Somerville, 844-326-3663. I can't wait to hear what Tom has to say and what his Super Bowl prediction might be. What's up, Tom?
Hey, guys. I've been thinking about this for a while, for the past 2 weeks probably, and I made the decision I am going to absolutely hammer Seattle minus 7.5.
7?
I just think
it's
that
4.5.
Well, I know, but I'm going to buy it up to 7.5.
Oh.
That defense, they're just a little too physical, I think, for New England. And at the end of the day, the way I looked at it is this. I think Seattle's going to be good enough down the stretch. They got the running back with absolute speed. And I just feel like Seattle's going to make a couple plays early in the game, and they're going to take the momentum. And, I feel like this could be a game where come the fourth quarter, Seattle might have a 10, 15-point lead as the time runs out. I just feel like this team, the way they've been so dominant, I feel like it's going to carry over.
I'm actually with Tom on that. I am. And we made our predictions back at the 4 o'clock hour. I'm with you. Could the Patriots win? I think they could, but I've told a few friends of mine, and watch me be wrong. I think this is the easiest bet ever. I think Seattle minus 4.5 is the lock of the year for the Super Bowl.
And the only way it doesn't happen is if what Dewey said becomes true, or if Sam Darnold makes a mistake to keep New England in the game. If they play football, I think the game is over early.
No, that's a good point.
Appreciate it, Tom. Good call.
He's right, though.
And just remember this, guys. Think about what you're going to be doing in 2 weeks when you eat your supper, okay? I want you to think long and hard about it. Well, thanks, Doc. Have a great weekend.
Thanks, Tom.
God. Only Tom. Only Tom. I love it. He's right, though. He's right. Look, it doesn't matter what game it is, what level, Pee-wee, high school, whatever. He's 100% right, Dewey. Whoever said it about Sam Darnold. Yeah, Seattle should win. Yeah, we think for the most part, most people are picking Seattle. But, yeah, at any level, turnovers are the great equalizer. So we all like Seattle, but guess what? If you told me, if you told you, if somebody told you these were right now that Darnold those 2 picks, will we still take Seattle? I don't know. That turnovers are the great equalizer. You got to take care of the football. So it'll be interesting to see for sure.
Very true.
Diesel, let's dive into a little college basketball. Clemson with a big weekend because they are still out on the West Coast. They had a big win earlier this week. Let's go Clemson basketball. Look at the ACC standings and where the Tigers rank with a big, big weekend ahead. We'll dive into it next.
to Wire with Cole Bryson and Diesel on the Fan Upstate.
Well, how good is Clemson basketball? You know, they just keep winning, Diesel, and we keep asking the question, are they undervalued? You look at the metrics, you look at what Evan Miyakawa does on his website, which is phenomenal, by the way, and you don't see Clemson as a team or individually in a lot of these top metrics across the country. So you do ask the question. You ask how good this Clemson basketball team is. Oh, and by the way, speaking of Evan Miyakawa, Diesel, he will join us Wednesday on the show live. He could not join us every week. I did ask him, but he's doing his own show this year, so he is tied up with that. But we will be joined by Evan Miyakawa on Wednesday at 3:22. He's awesome. But I just wonder, are we valuing this Clemson basketball team enough just because, or the conversation we had a couple of days ago when it comes to what they've done consistently? I mean, there's a stat here I'll throw at you, Diesel. This is wild, by the way. Clemson's the most consistent team in the entire country, according to Evan Miyakawa's data. This graph that he just posted a little while ago on Twitter on X shows each team's game consistency compared to their overall team rating. The lower you are on the graph, the more your performance level stays consistent from night to night. And Clemson's the most consistent team in the country right now, which means their performance level is very similar from one night to the next. And Diesel, that's not a bad attribute to have, but it might mean their ceiling isn't quite as high. Do you think that could be a realistic possibility? Does that make sense?
It could certainly say that. I mean, I think you know that they're consistently going to hold whatever team they're playing to 10 to 15 points below their season average. They've done a really good job at that so far this season. But their offense really feels like it has a pretty solid cap. And look, they've got a bunch of guys on this team that can give you 12 to 15 to 20 points a night. I don't know that they have that guy that can give you 30. So when it comes to seeing if Clemson could punch above their weight class, they're going to have to do that with just absolutely suffocating defense rather than one of these guys stepping up and having an amazing performance.
But once again, here we are once again with another metric of, we're not valuing Clemson enough. And look, I think I say it all the time, Diesel. I think two things can be true. I think Clemson's a very good basketball team. And when you look at what they've done this season, especially with this consistency metric that Evan Miyakawa is talking about here, you can't take anything away from that. Their team defense, the way that defense travels night in and night out, it's phenomenal. So I think Brad Brownell deserves a lot of credit for that. All I'm saying is, on the flip side, when two things can be true, I do believe at the same time Clemson's going to run into some teams here soon that give them problems. And I think Duke's going to be one of those teams. They've got Cal tomorrow. As of right now, at this very moment, let's look. There is not a spread on ESPN.com, but it's another West Coast game, 8 o'clock tomorrow night on ACC Network. And then you look at the stretch they have in the next few weeks. It's going to get brutal. In the tournament, you're going to continue to be tested. Oh, and not to mention, Diesel, you have to go through the ACC tournament again when you play in the ACC tournament up in North Carolina. So two things can be true is my takeaway. I think they're very good. I think they're very consistent. But at the same time, I think there's maybe some elite basketball teams in college basketball that Clemson just hadn't ran into yet.
True. I mean, it feels like, unless there's just some epic collapse down the stretch, that they are an NCAA tournament team. I think they've proven
they're
at this point
100%
to be there, right? So, hey, and if I'm Brad Brownell, I say bring it on. Keep doubting me, right?
Yeah.
Keep telling
Roy
my guys,
baby,
that they're not good enough. What was Eric Bakich told us this the other day? He goes, I don't care where we are in the preseason rankings. I just want to be number one at getting better all season long. If you can do that, then great. I mean, if Brad Brownell has this level of defense at this point, has it dialed in to this point, and he does. He has that defense dialed in. If he could just figure out a way to squeeze 10 extra points a night out of this team, 10, 12 extra points, they are an incredibly dangerous basketball team that can beat the best of the best.
Well, I just think it's so interesting when you look at this graph, because there's two ways to look at it. You can look at it and say Clemson's the most consistent basketball team, or Clemson's the most volatile basketball. I don't know which way you want to look at it, Diesel. I'm just saying, when you look at their team predictive efficiency rating combined with their game-to-game volatility, it's really interesting. And again, I think that you have to give Brad Brownell a ton of credit because they deserve a lot of credit. This staff and these players, the way that they defend at a very high level is impressive. But I looking into the crystal ball, I mean, they're number 20 right now, right? They're averaging about 76.5 points per game. They're allowing about 64.5 points per game, which is solid defense. They're they're plus 17.8 SRS, which is simple rating system, placing them probably in the top 40 nationally, which is good, Diesel. It's not elite, right? They've got about a .818 winning percentage. Again, we know they only have that one conference loss. And then their net predictive metrics, they're around 25 nationally. Their BPI's around 15. Their KenPom, they rank in the top 20, top 25. So they're all top 25-ish metrics, showing exactly what that Evan Miyakawa graphic shows in consistency. But you just wonder, the quadrant wins. They have several quality wins, especially quad 1, quad 2, though not a ton of elite victories yet, right, which is key for NCAA seeding. So I go back to something you just said. They're a lock for the tournament in my mind. But are they going to be as high of a seed as a lot of Clemson fans and a lot of Clemson media think so? I don't think so. I think they'll fall a little lower in the seeding than a lot of people believe. Their offense is respectable, but it's not dominant, Diesel. Clemson's not scoring at an elite pace. They're very efficient. I think that will be interesting to watch as the season goes on and we enter this final stretch, especially when they're really tested.
Well, given what they've shown us so far this season, they've shown the ability to go on runs and string together a lot of wins in a row. So, you know, maybe seeding does make your road slightly more difficult, but if you're a 5 seed and now you're facing a 7 seed or something like that, I don't know that your road is particularly so much more difficult than it would be if you bump up to a 4 seed or a 3 seed. I think they can go on runs and shut a lot of teams down and frustrate them. Because think about it like this, Cole. A lot of teams are run and gun offensive identity type of teams. That's just kind of the way college basketball has shifted over the past couple of years. It favors that fast-paced offense. That means a lot of these teams haven't faced tight lockdown defenses like Clemson's all season long. So they're going to see something a little bit different. Speaking of tight lockdown defenses, Cole, I saw something the other night. I was watching App State South Alabama, and South Alabama runs a zone defense that they do not switch out of the entire game. I haven't seen a team run the exact same defense, not just the whole game, but the whole season. You cannot get the ball inside on them. They make you shoot it over their heads. They make you shoot threes and beat them that way. So
That's
it's a wild way to play defense. It's frustrating to watch because you just think to yourself, God, I want my team to get the ball down to the center and let them dunk the ball because that's a higher percentage shot. But you can't get the ball inside on them.
A couple of metrics I want to throw at you, Diesel. And by the way, is the background noise too loud? Is that unbearable?
Hey, it just means you're having a great time,
Well,
right?
I just didn't know if it was suffocating me or drowning me out. If it
It's
is,
getting a little louder,
okay,
yeah.
I can turn it down a little bit. They're ramping things up here at Dorman High School. By the way, an hour and a half from now, the Burns Rebels pregame show. A couple of metrics let me throw at you, Diesel. See what you think about these. I'm going to call these red flag metrics, okay? Just like if you're like on Tinder or Hinge or these dating apps, you see these red flags. What I think could be red flag metrics for Clemson down the stretch, what I mean is what kind of teams could give them problems. A couple of things. Number one, shot creation under pressure, which is basically late clock offense. A metric red flag that I think could give Clemson some issues. The percentage of shots assisted, Clemson's usually high here, which is good because they're a ball movement team. But when you look at late clock PPP, isolation, they're typically below elite teams. Why does that matter? When defenses, Diesel, switch everything and take away motion, Clemson doesn't always have a dude who can just go get a bucket. They're a very team-oriented team. I don't know that Clemson has that dude that can go win games consistently in the postseason, right? Number two, offensive rebounding rate allowed, a metric to watch. Opponent ORB, offensive rebound percentage. Clemson's solid, but Clemson this season has not been dominant on the glass. Why it hurts them? Clemson plays physical. They pack it in defensively. They play a pack it in Brad Brunell defense. Often means help defenders are what? Out of rebounding position. When you look at teams that could have active bigs, especially like Duke, especially in ACC tournament time and in the postseason, and long wings that crash from the corners, Diesel, I think those teams will be able to steal 8 to 12 possessions away from Clemson, which kills a grinded-out kind of team like Clemson. And then number 3, the third red flag metric I think is important to watch down the stretch for Clemson. Watch turnover creation or lack thereof. A defensive turnover percentage. Clemson's usually somewhere in the middle of the pack this season. They defend well. And go back to what I just said. They're a pack-it-in defense. They defend well, Diesel, but they don't gamble much. They don't take risks. I'm not saying that's a huge issue, but it's something to watch. They don't get many easy points. Most of their scoring comes in half-court sets, after makes, controlled Brownell pace, and against elite teams, I think that could be no run stoppers, no quick 6-0 spurts off of turnovers, and Brad Brunell's teams right now are just having to out-execute, not really out-overwhelm. So I think that's going to be 3 things to watch as the season goes on. Again, to put a bow on it, I think Clemson's really, really good. Do I think they're elite? I don't think they're elite, but guess what? We'll find out here in a little while when they play Duke.
Yeah, that's very true. When you have a methodical type of offense like this, it can be really tough to mount big comebacks.
Yeah.
Right? You don't have the possession. So if you get down 12, 14, 16 points with 2.5, 3 minutes to go, you might not have enough time, right? And then it forces you out of your comfort zone. It forces you out of what you do, forces you to try to run with the ball. And then, of course, that's how you make mistakes because you're not doing what you're comfortable doing. Cole, live update here for you from the Waste Management. Scotty Scheffler is in danger of missing the cut. We've been talking about this, Cole. Scotty Scheffler has made 65 consecutive cuts. And up until to the last 2 holes, Scotty Scheffler has been in deep trouble. He now, Cole, has moved just inside the projected cut line. He birdied 9. He birdied 10. He is now sitting at 1 under. The projected cut is 1 under. That means anybody even or worse going home. And Scotty Scheffler's right there on that edge.
That's fun to watch, even though he's not at the top. Like it's kind of fun for a little while to say, "Hey, is Scotty going to make the cut?" Which sounds ridiculous, but hey, yeah, it is.
They're all chasing Hideki Matsuyama, who birdied his final 6 holes. He was out of the clubhouse early this morning and birdied 13 through 18.
Hey,
he was on fire.
Let me say this real quick on that golf subject. I didn't mention this earlier when we brought it up. I think what you just said, Diesel, goes to show why Scotty's so good. What am I talking about? Matsuyama, I'm not saying he's not a good golfer, or whoever wins this tournament, or Blades, the Blades kid from McCollum. I'm not saying like any of these guys aren't elite. They are elite. They wouldn't be on tour. They wouldn't be where they are if they weren't elite. But I just think that the conversation we're having, like our shock, surprise reaction, is why Scotty is as dominant and as good as he is, because it just shows in the game of golf what kind of high-level consistency looks like. And Scotty, I mean, my gosh, he's not having a good tournament this weekend, but the level of consistency that he plays at, Diesel, it's off the charts. And that's what makes him so good, that on a random February weekend, we're surprised that he's not that he's barely making the cut. That just shows how good that guy is.
And by the way, he still has a long way to go. He would have to make 80 some odd consecutive cuts to catch Tiger, who made 142 straight.
Yeah, hey, by the way, we just talked about how good he is. By the way, not happening. Just to be clear.
The record there, Tiger 142, Byron Nelson 113.
Wow.
Jack Nicklaus made 105 straight. Hale Irwin 86. Xander Schauffele made 72 straight. He ended that streak just a couple of weeks ago, Cole, which is wild. Xander Schauffele, by the way, if you're curious where he is also at 1 under. So he is finished. But if things get a little wonky and the cut moves up, I mean, Xander Schauffele, he bogeyed 14 and 17. So he put himself in a tough spot. But he looks like, as of right now, he's safe and he's going to make it back in.
Hey, Tolos, quick reminder before Diesel goes off the break. 2 hours from right now, the boys' game will be underway here in Roebuck. The girls' game starting here in about 15 minutes. But I'm telling you, this place in 2 hours is going to be off the charts. Insane packed crowd. Biggest game of the state tonight. A very big rivalry game. If you're not coming out to the game, we had a Tolo earlier say he was bringing his son to his first ever Burns-Dorman game, which is awesome. But if you can't make it, we'd love to have you join us right here on the Fan Upstate. Pre-game and Lane Fowler interview at 7 o'clock and tip somewhere around 7:30. This is the place to be in Spartanburg tonight right here in Roebuck.
We have Shane Barrett asking, did I see that the courts just granted Charles Bediako eligibility for the rest of the season? Burn the system down. Shane, we're going to check that out, see what's going on with the updates there. This is your message. You know, obviously us doing a live show here, it's hard to keep track of everything that's going on, but we're going to find out the answer of what's happening. We'll get to that in the very next segment. And for those of you who are looking for some live sports to watch this weekend, maybe I could convince Cole to tune in to some Olympic events. I'm not going to list all of them, but some of the biggest and coolest must-watch Olympic events for the next 2 days. We'll get into that next on the Fan Upstate.
This is Wired to Wire with Diesel and Cole Bryson on the Fan. Upstairs.
You know, come Monday, I know that we're going to spend maybe a little bit of time, lip service, on the Super Bowl, Cole, but the big story is going to be the medaling events in the Winter Olympics, right? Who cares about a little national championship football game when we got global level competition in the Olympics?
Yeah, look, I'm not going to watch a ton this weekend, but I am going to try for you to be more engaged with it, and I'm going to give it a shot. I'm not going to be the Scrooge here, okay?
Well, it is difficult, right, when the games are not here in the States to keep up. Time differences are tough, especially if you're the kind of guy that likes to watch sports live and not on a replay, and you don't want to know the results of a race before it actually happens. But, you know, that's kind of what the price you have to pay when you want to watch sports that are being held in international markets. But, Cole, here is what's going on tomorrow morning. And, again, we have Tolos that wake up early in the morning, and Dewey that wakes up just in time to listen and call our show and tell somebody that somebody needs to be fired. But if you wanted to watch these events live, you could start first thing in the morning at 5:30 a.m.
Wow.
with men's alpine downhill skiing, the medal event. So we're going to be crowning medalists right here on day one of the Olympics.
5:30 in the morning. What are you doing waking up watching alpine downhill, turn left, robust ski? What is it? I mean, it sounds like something that, you know what that sounds like? That sounds like something a degenerate would love. You know, hey, man, you drunk,
put some money
gambling
on
man.
this?
Yeah, you wake up, start betting at 5:30. Oh, I'm betting on alpine skiing today. I don't know anybody that's skiing or what they're doing, but it does sound like something that maybe a gambling man would enjoy.
You know, and a lot of Tolos have Peacock app, or they have NBC, or they have ways to stream it and watch these things on their own schedule. I'm just telling you when these things are happening live. By the way, how much would it stink to be an Olympic athlete? You've done all this work to train and get ready, and your Olympic events are done on the first day.
Yeah, just all
That
that.
would be
It's
fun.
like just a little firecracker, you know, all that for nothing.
Then again, if you plan on sticking around in the Olympic Village and you're a single guy and you win a gold medal, I think it makes it a lot easier to keep up international relations, Cole, if you're a gold medal winner. Also, tomorrow there's going to be mixed doubles curling. I know you're a big fan of that.
Yes, I am.
England versus America, 8:30 a.m. is when that's going to air live. There's also the women's 3,000-meter speed skating medaling events. I've told you, man, you need to tune in and watch some speed skating because that is awesome. It's
Tell
like,
me, you just got to text me and remind me I'm all in.
okay, well, it's on the rundown.
I'm not going to look at the rundown this weekend. I hate to tell you. Sorry.
Okay. There's also some men's luge singles events happening at 11 a.m.
I remember
tomorrow.
what that is, by the way.
That's the feet first.
Yes.
But also, Cole, there are doubles luge. So imagine number one, how scary it is to fly down a tube at 85 miles an hour. Now imagine laying on top of your buddy while he pilots the luge at 85 miles an hour. It doesn't sound fun in a lot of ways, though.
No, not really.
No.
Not really.
Tomorrow afternoon, there's ski jumping, the women's normal ski jumping medal event. There's also the men's big air medaling event tomorrow afternoon. On Sunday, if you need something to watch to get you ramped up and ready to go for the Super Bowl, there's some snowboarding events going on Sunday. The curling, there's some curling on Sunday. Alpine skiing, women's downhill for medaling. There's the snowboarding parallel giant slalom knockout. That's where they race head-to-head at snowboarding. And also some men's 5,000-meter speed skating tomorrow at 10 a.m. And then it's all Super Bowl from there on out.
I love it. I love it. Speaking of the Super Bowl, let's dive into the NFL superlatives. Who got what award last night? We'll talk about it next.